Hello and welcome back to Share Plays with Dragon and Madi. I'm Dragon, the host, and I mean, it's almost obligatory at this point to mention it, but Madi.
Hi.
And we're back with Spider-Man, and I guess some more of Madi's heartfelt story, if you remember our last couple of episodes. So yes, we're about to well, kind of break into Oscorp. Always a fun time.
Yeah. So guys, right now I just texted my brother about the channel and stuff because I haven't mentioned the channel to him at all because of there's some certain things that I don't think he'd care for. But if he texts back saying I can use his name, I will. But right now I think I'm going to stick with just saying my brother. Like, in all honesty, spawning from my brother, showing me Kingdom Hearts and like actually letting me play that game by actually giving me permission, because the PlayStation 2 and that we have and the Kingdom Hearts and all the games that goes with it, they're all his. They really are. They're just here along with the Xbox 360 and all that. Like, I still have that. I could probably even hook that up and play some games on Xbox, even though I hate the Xbox controller so much. Like, it's just a personal thing, but I hate it so much.
Looks like there's four of these around the building.
It just feels too clunky to me. And like, I'm not bashing on Xbox, because Xbox has its own fair share of amazing titles that I would love to play. It's just, that controller. And I know people will say stuff like, you know, there's a special controller. I know there's a special controller. I don't have money for it, guys.
There's the second
Yeah.
Anyways, but back to my brother. If he had never shown me Kingdom Hearts, I actually would have never gotten my youngest brother into Kingdom Hearts either, because like, you have my little brother who is 3.5 years younger than me, who is, oh god, he's actually now a teenager. Yeah, you fucked up.
I know it did.
He's actually now a teenager, and I can't actually see him as a teenager. I kind of like, I remember I went over there one summer, and of course he's hit puberty by now, and like, all of a sudden I hear this deep voice. I'm like, who the hell are you? You're not my little brother. What is this?
Oh god, not again.
Yeah, careful.
Yeah, I got this. This is only my third time doing it, and the first time I screwed it up, so, you know, doing well.
Yeah, anyways, so, like, I tried to show my little brother, Kingdom Hearts, and he just didn't care for it, which, you know, he's more of a car guy, like my dad.
Gotta move.
You know? So,
Hi, MJ. A little busy right now.
I know he spends his time with my dad, and I love my dad, guys, I do. But they're into like racing and stuff, so he spends his time with my dad fixing up race cars. And actually, my dad terrified me one day. I called him, and like, my little brother answered. He's like, hold on, let me give the phone to dad. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, he's under the car right now. And my dad was talking to me while under the car. I'm like, this is so not okay. You know, freaking out because I'm an anxious mess. But yeah, so like, that's just one of the conversations I've had with my dad while he's under a car fixing it. And then my youngest brother used to be an outdoors kind of person. Right now, he's stuck on Fortnite. Like, I'm friends with him on PS4, and I can freaking stalk his activity.
I twitch. Change game subject now.
Look. All I'm saying is he's also a big fan of Kingdom Hearts, because I showed him what it was. I was like, no, listen, you will do this. Because he didn't really want to watch it at all. Like, he didn't even want to play it. And then I was like, no, just sitting down, you're watching it. So I forced him to sit down, and then he saw the first. I was like, look at this opening. And I started playing it, and he got interested. And then I had to go to the grocery store with my stepmom, who's very nice. I love her. And we come back, and there's my youngest brother. I really want to say his name, but I'm not going to. There's my youngest brother. I'll just call him Mal because like his username is like Malankar or some like that. But so there's Mal playing Kingdom Hearts 2. Actually, no, he started playing Kingdom Hearts, but he couldn't get past it, so he watched someone play it. And then he started playing Kingdom Hearts 2, and I just walk in and see him playing it, and I'm like,
we find Michael's, we find Devil's Breath.
I love you, man. You know, so it's kind of traditional thing in a way. My little sister is in the background screaming. I'm sorry if y'all can hear that. But in a way, like, my older brother passed it to me, saying, here, try this game out, you know, and it was a really good game. And then I passed it to my youngest brother, and I'm gonna be honest, I was, at one point, me and my family were living in a camper because our house hadn't been built yet, and we had moved out, so we were, like, living in Belleville. I was still in school, had to wake up at, like, 4 a.m. to get ready for school and get there on time. But, my little sister walks in and sees me playing Kingdom Hearts 2, and, my brother used to use this tactic on me. I didn't realize it until that day, because, like, my little sister wanted to play the game with me, but it's not a two-player game. My mom goes, why don't you just give her a controller that's not on or not plugged in? Because, you know, PS2, you plugged in your controller that's not plugged in and pretend she's playing. That's what your brother used to do to you. And I was like, he did? Wait, what? I was like, hold up. When did this happen? Because I don't remember it. But apparently he used to just hand... Oh, my brother gave me permission. My older brother, his name is Dustin. Proud Marine. So Dustin used to just hand me a controller that was not plugged in and be like, here, you can play with me, and we'll just continue playing the game while I was just moving the analog sticks or whatever. So I recently started doing that to my little sister, and she looked like she was and my little sister's 4, so I get it. She gets like her attention span that she can't focus. So I did that with Kingdom Hearts 2, and like my mom has a picture of us on Facebook where I'm just kind of like in this semi-laying position, and she has her head on my lap while just fiddling with the controller. And it's pretty adorable, but like, so in all honesty, my older brother is the basis on where I started playing video games, and for him, our uncles, we have 2 uncles that first name begin with J, and a uncle that begins with S. But the 2 uncles I'm talking about, they're older than my mom. They're her older brothers. My mom's eldest brother, basically, no, I forget which uncle it was, but at one point they had a PS, they actually played with my brother. They had the Atari. God, that system's old. The Atari, you know, with those little box games. For those of you that don't know what it is, don't worry, I was right there with you. It's extremely old gaming system, but he got it, and it would stay at my grandparents, and he got it from one of our uncles, and then he would play games with our uncles as well, and actually that's where he started playing God of War with one of my uncles at their house. So like, we've had some gaming people in our family, but me and Dustin, we are the ones that game pretty heavily, you know what I mean?
Right, so I'm gonna say this right now. I'm not doing a section that makes me break out kind of in hives, and he started talking about a game that definitely makes me break out in hives, so I'm a little twitchy, you know, need track now.
Okay, let's forget about the game I mentioned. But like, I'm not distracting you right now, am I?
Fucking golden joysticks. Okay, let me talk about this now. I need to rant about this. Why in the ever-loving fucking hell did Fortnite win Game of the Year at the Golden Joystick Awards? Now I know that's not the big one. Because the Game Awards still to go and didn't even and get nominated there. But why the fuck? Like, why the fuck was
It's because
Fortnite
there's a
nominated?
bunch of little kids playing it.
That's not the point. It was released
Dragon,
last
continue.
year. It was released last year, not
Do you
this
know
year. The
how
Battle
many
Royale
games have
mode came
gotten
out
an
this year.
award after they've been released for like 2 or 3 years?
I've got to get
Yes,
to that tent.
but never Game of the Year. Because that implies it's a game that came out this year, and it was a good game that came out this year. Fortnite
Well,
qualifies for
technically, okay.
neither!
No, this game constantly updates, so it's technically just new material for the old game. But still, no, I'm pretty sure there was a point where one of them did win Game of the Year when it wasn't out at that point. Like, it wasn't,
I
it didn't come out that
refuse
year.
to believe. Refuse to believe.
Look, let's not talk about said game that makes you furious. Okay,
Breakout
the only
knives.
reason I mentioned it is because that is what my little brother has been playing with his friends. Partly because he does, I don't think he no, he has PS Plus. The only games that they really have right now, on the PS4 are Call of Duty. They had The Last of Us, but they didn't play it, and my stepmom kept it in her room, just like, would you play this? And I was like, sure, why not? Might as well. You know? Like, okay, free game, even though my PS4 barely has any space due to, Final Fantasy 15. No, I'm not deleting it. Do you know how much extra content I have on that? That's gonna take forever to actually freaking, re-download. But,
It's important.
yeah, so it's just something my little brother's
Michaels is in one of these. Stannis
youngest
might
brother
know which
plays. My other brother would rather play, like, and they also play racing games. My other brother plays, Call of Duty more than anything else. Last time I checked, I haven't really talked to them all that much. But
Like,
back to my older brother, please.
Move it.
Now that I can say his name, if he sees this, which I don't know if he will, because he'd probably just click it and then disappear, you know.
Come on.
Dustin, I want you to know this. Without you, I don't think I would have been gaming. And in all honesty, I love you because you supported me, even though it was like offhandly. You supported me through everything, and you would put up with my annoyingness to watch you play games. And you even once forced me to play Grand Theft Auto while you went and got ramen with your friends, and I could hear them saying, I think he handed the controller to his little sister, and I was just sitting here going, I don't know what to do!
Yeah.
Help!
yeah.
It's just
Then,
the memories that you have given me
You tell him to do it. Do it
are
himself.
the
I'm not with
best
the demons. I'm not
that
with
I have
Sable.
had so far.
I'm a
And
reporter.
it makes me really sad that I didn't spend more time with you when I had the chance. Because now you're always
Like you.
out of the state working, which go do what you love. I know you love working for the Marines.
Sable won't listen to me.
But I
He has
really
Michaels
do
in the
miss
power,
you
moving him to a new state
so
tomorrow at
much.
noon.
And
But he's totally ignoring
if
Grand
you wouldn't
Central.
mind, I would love to have you just talk to Dragon as you probably beat the boss that I can never beat.
To get what, Charles? What do the demons need to get at Grand
So, revision of my last statement for Kingdom Hearts 2, everyone. My brother might be the one beating the boss if I get there.
Sable guy. Sorry, Charlie.
I hope y'all don't mind.
Okay, time to
Wait,
go.
no, he knows something.
Also, Dragon, just realized you're gonna meet my brother now.
yep. Okay. So there is another thing about this game that I hate. Not this
boy,
game.
back
Spider-Man
on
is
the
great.
hate.
Okay. So, I get it. It's popular with kids because of the cartoony aesthetic that Overwatch also has. Another game I don't exactly like, but appreciate the purpose of. That does not give them the excuse to do those stupid dance moves everywhere they go, and it does not give anybody an excuse to actually teach these dance moves in professional classes.
Actually, the dance moves came from other people out in the real world that did them.
I
Like,
do
that's where the origin is.
care. I do not care. The only video game dance moves that I accept and have actually practiced myself are those ones found in Warframe. And I'm not talking about the hard air carters where there's like the one of them that it just does all the flips. No, I'm talking about the actual dance moves that just go on a loop. And yes, I have self-taught myself some of those, and when people ask where I got them from, I just say that, oh, a woman called Danielle taught them to me, which is funny if you get the joke. If not, don't worry. Like, 1, they're infinitely better. 2, some of them actually require proper skill to pull off. And 3, they're not stupid.
Dragon, calm down. No, calm down. Look, I'm gonna say this. There are a lot of games with those types of dance moves, so you can't just rag on Fortnite.
I rag on this one because I see them everywhere, and they're being taught professionally as actual classes, like classes dedicated to these moves. And I'm like, no, this is not needed.
First of all, no, hold on, shush, no, Dragon,
Yes!
Dragon. Okay, first of all, cosplay. There are characters that are like very differentiated in like Fortnite that people will cosplay as. So of course they're gonna try to learn the dance moves professionally so they don't get embarrassed at events. Ever think about that? 2, to those that are teaching them, good for them finding a passion that they can make money off of. Look at the positives, not the negatives, please, because it gets kind of tiring hearing you talk about the negatives of said game when really you don't have to like it. I get that you don't like it. I don't like it. But guess what? There are people that make good money off of the game via Twitch and you know, and being actually really good at the game, because it does add some interesting elements, such as the building aspect. I will give it that.
Credit where it's due there, but then also gives that, well, take that credit away for then introducing a grenade that just gives you easy towers, which I found out about.
Which is made for the newbies. It's made for the people that aren't good at building and they're new, because guess what? You can't choose I mean, you might be able to, but sometimes you join a lobby and you're filled with professional builders that just give you nothing, right? Because they're constantly on you. Oh, it's fresh meat. They don't know how the game works. That's why the grenade was added. And I get where you're coming from with the other grenade. Let's not talk about it. Let's just say,
okay, no.
in all honesty, there's no such thing as originality.
No,
Because it's already been done in some way.
The concept of that grenade is unoriginal. How the grenade itself looks and how it's lobbed is, I mean, okay, the lobbing is not actually original because it's just a standard grenade, but how it looks is fairly original to Fortnite. I'll give it that. No, I'll give it that it's got its own original aesthetic, and I'll give it that it's got a really decent building mechanic that is the epitome of easy to learn, hard to master. My problem with it is it skyrocketed to popularity, had this weird as hell lawsuit that as soon as it won, it decided to essentially jerk itself off, and advertisement was bloody everywhere. Again, a year after the game's actual release, and about 6 months after everybody actually knew about it. And let me finish. And a fair amount of the really popular streamers have no personality. They're just bland. The thing that makes a good streamer, or makes an entertaining streamer, not necessarily a good streamer, is when they've actually got personality, and they don't have to be funny, but they're actually engaging. which is why I think you're actually a really good, you know, host, because you're actually engaging with the, well, not engaging with the audience per se, but you're actually telling stories and you're trying to keep them entertained while they're also watching a video game. These other streamers, they'll just be like, yeah, so we'll just kill that guy and we'll just kill that guy and blah 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 blah, blah whatever. And so it's more a case of
Okay.
the game itself is not bad. The popularity makes no sense. The streamers are stupid and annoying. Not all of them. Don't get me wrong, there are actually some good ones. Cage, love you. And there are just other factors surrounding the game, so my hate has gone beyond the game itself and actually come back around to saying that the game's actually good, but it's more surrounding it. It's just everything about just the fan base, the popularity, the community, all of that.
Okay. I get what you're coming from, but you have to understand the reason the Game of the Year thing. This makes sense now. No one knew about the game when it first came out. No one. And the people that first played it were like, yeah, y'all didn't know that this was a thing until now? Like, they kind of agreed with the popularity. However, it comes to the thing of like, it's a game you can play on your phone. So people would play it at school when they were done with their work, okay? You would have little kids would play it and they'd have a nice community. Kind of like Minecraft, except Minecraft, no offense, like you can do very creative things in vanilla.
Too late to stop her here.
But
fun with mods.
Minecraft wasn't extreme, like, one of my favorite Minecraft YouTubers, Captain Sparkles. Like, it got to the point where the vanilla, kind of is boring to watch because it's the same thing. So the mods came out, and then you have Fortnite, where instead of it having like a vanilla and then modded, it keeps updating itself. Not only that, it's something that kids can play. Kids can play a violent game without it having to be like very, you know, bloody like Call of Duty, because my little brothers were playing that and again, I haven't played the game. I've seen some videos of it, and from what I've seen, when someone dies, they pop into color, like just a burst of light. There's no blood.
No, so again, I get the appeal and the aesthetic and all of that. Like, again, I've gone back around to actually liking the game because the game itself isn't the problem. It's the amount of controversies that will be made up because of its popularity. The amount of times it's used as a scapegoat, like, yeah, no, I know it's everywhere, but with Fortnite it just seemed to happen overnight and then kept happening.
Okay, well, again,
ridiculously.
that's because Fortnite was so popular after its overnight popularity that probably someone just wanted to StarCraft. You know, there are people out there like that. But, as I've said, sorry, dogs are just being weird. Anyways, as I've said, like, there's been games like that out there. There's, like, I know,
Mortal Kombat.
Tomb Raider, Tomb Raider at one point, not Tomb Raider, I forget. There was this one game with a female protagonist and people were complaining that her boobs were too big and it was objectifying women. So they went back and they lessened the boobs. There was at one point in the remix, they said Aqua looked too anime-ish and like it didn't look like Kingdom Hearts. Like her chin was too sharp and her ears were extremely long. So they went back and fixed that. But it's like, there's always nitpickers and there's always going to be controversy at some point in anyone's life. Like,
I know.
No matter what you do.
Here's my thing on that though. If you already have a strong female protagonist, i.e. Lara Croft, I can't believe I'm saying this, Bayonetta and Juliet Starling are the three that I can name off the top of my head, where they are female protagonists that are always in control of the situation, never have to rely upon someone with a Y chromosome. Why then try to change that aspect about them, or take away aspects of their personality that made them popular in the first place. Looking at you, Squeenix! I love you and what you're doing with Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy and Avengers Project. Better fucking deliver, otherwise I'll be really annoyed at you. But seriously, what the hell did you do to Tomb Raider? Honestly,
okay, to be honest, Tomb Raider had its complaints with some people because they saw the original and they're like, her chest is giant. No one that is adventuring will have a chest that giant. Like, I'm not saying that it can't possibly happen. It could. But, like, basically, what they did was they tried to make it more realistic. Because in the original, you had Lara Croft shooting fucking raptors. Velociraptors, which, you know, okay, fine, do you. But in all honesty, I don't see where you come from when it comes to Tomb Raider. Because, for me, Tomb Raider, shish. Like, I enjoyed Tomb Raider, even though I can't fucking beat a certain part. I thoroughly enjoy playing the Tomb Raider series. I love watching it because part of the reason it's so engaging to me, I guess, is just like I just see it for what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be, instead of focusing on the old game and what it was like, it's supposed to be almost like a brand new thing, you know?
They got character development confused with beating the crap out of her so much that it actually does become unrealistic. Not to a point, but to a very high standard. Like, seriously, the amount of shit she goes through in the first one alone is enough to kill her, and yet she's back in the second one and the third one for more.
Okay. For that, let me bring this up. How many times have we seen someone that has defied death in this world?
In this world, this is different.
No,
this is
no, it's
superheroes. No, this is superheroes.
Lara
People die and
Croft
come
is
back
not
all the
a
time.
superhero. No, not in this world. In the real
okay, so
world. How many?
Okay, not actually a lot. Like, okay, if somebody goes through at least half the shit Lara Croft does in the first of the reboot Tomb Raiders, it's a miracle they'd still be alive. Okay?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you something right now. Every woman has the chance of death while giving birth.
That's different.
No,
No, that's different. That is different, okay? Because giving birth and getting the shit beaten out of you to honestly near death is different.
When has that ever happened in, like, the actual story-wise? Because I haven't seen that. Unless you're watching someone that's really bad at the game. Because the ones I've seen, sure, she gets hit, but it's a punch to the face. That's like
okay,
sure,
so we're just completely
but
glossing over the section where she gets stabbed through the stomach. And
that's not the stomach, that's the side. That's the side.
Without then she it may as well be her stomach.
No,
okay.
It's where they put the stab actually makes sense to how she would survive. Because that is legit. You could legit survive that.
They took one of the best and most badass female protagonists, not saying anything about her looks. They took one of the best video game female protagonists and made her a whiny little bitch that got all, oh no, I have taken life in one section, only to then have her popping heads and shooting arrows into people's hearts with the best of them literally in the next scene. Okay?
Okay. Here's my thing on that. No, continue with what you're doing. Here's my thing on that. It's now a situation where she admits that it's wrong to take life, which anyone would go through that. Anyone. Just because, let's be honest, the crap that you go through to deal with that is extremely horrible, because taking a person's life is like, an extremely difficult decision to make in any of the sense. So her actually taking time to actually, you know, go in and relay that to the audience makes sense. But now it's a either you die or I die situation after, you know, having a self-realization. See, you're looking
She gets over
at
it too
from
quickly.
a stand.
0.8 milliseconds.
That's the thing. Like, it's
Good work.
not. Like, no, I get what you're saying. It becomes less of a. It's morally wrong
But
to
here's
kill,
the
and
thing,
it's more
a
now
lot of the people
kill
that
or
play
be
it
killed
will not
survival
sit
sort of thing.
through. Okay, here's the thing: the people that play it are not going to sit through that whole. Oh my God! It takes hours upon hours, almost the entire game, for her to come to the situation. No, people are there for adventure and tombs and stuff. So of course, some things go by too fast. It's so they don't get any of the people complaining about, no, it drags on too much. No, it's too long. Not only that, Square Enix can't be blamed for, like, the company can't be blamed because each project has a different project director. So it's really the director in it. Like, Square Enix as a whole has succeeded over and over and over and over again. And to be honest, the Tomb Raider games, in my opinion, are pretty good. They have their faults, but they're pretty good. So
My fault is not with the games themselves. My fault is with the protagonist. Oh, actually no. And another thing. Become the Tomb Raider was the tagline for all 3 of their origin story games. I've been becoming the Tomb Raider for 3 games in 5 years. When is she gonna get out of the training bras and actually hike her skirt up and be like,
Okay.
no, I'm the actual
here's the
Tomb Raider
reason
now?
they
Call that a milestone.
no. Here's the reason they market it like that. Just because share play.
No, shit.
We'll stop in a minute. They market it like that because,
Do you need some help?
like, in all honesty, I think you could play some of the games without playing the others. But I think it's meant to be like that. It's not supposed to be a sequel and stuff. It's supposed to be like it's its own game.
Doctor,
Instead of a series, because the series they've done, if you look at it, Final Fantasy is a series, and the series
That's
that they have,
multiversal
It's
timelines.
not
That's
connect-
confusing.
yeah, it's not connected and stuff, unless
Probably
you
caused by
consider Final Fantasy VII, the one with Zack Fair, and a few others that were
Sorry.
actually
Is there anything
connected,
I
such
can
as
do?
Final
Wherever you
Fantasy
are.
X and 10-2.
worst part is
But
it only affects the
I think they
muscles.
wanted to make it to where it wasn't
mind
really like,
continues
sure,
to
you can play all 3 games and it'll make sense,
It can no
but
longer
it's
do.
almost as if the games are their own standalone games.
You're the only
They're their
one.
own standalone games, but
like to
they
keep it that
still
way.
follow that progression of
course.
her from her beginnings
It's
to the end of her beginnings.
position with more
Like, I can't,
future.
Hey, I came here to work.
like,
Let's
it's
agree to
not,
disagree.
What you've got up here.
it's more a thing of, like,
Neither am I.
is it still meant to, like, they're basically still saying that, hey, this is still her origin story. I would have been fine if they said, we're putting our origin story into 3 parts, we're just doing,
Before I forget,
and we're doing it like this, rather than
outlines
sort of
possible
having
steps to
3
neural interface.
not loosely connected games, 3 fairly connected games that all are technically an origin story within themselves, and that's what confuses me.
See, I don't understand where you're coming from, the origin stories. What I saw is the beginning of one journey and the end of said journey at the end of the game. I don't see origins. I see, like, this is an actual journey she went through. Like, she went to an island, and this is what happened on the island. We're done with the island. She went through the snow, and this is what happened in the snow. We're done with the snow. That's how I saw them. I didn't see it as an actual origin.
But that's what it was marketed as. It was like the first one was
yes.
the reboot,
Just
relive
'cause
the
it's
origins, the
marketed-
new origins, and then the next one was become the Tomb Raider, and then the third one was become the Tomb Raider again, and I'm like, this isn't even the
Because
worst
there's not
issue
much
that you
can
guys.
do beside... Look,
This
there's
isn't
not
even
much
the
you
worst
can
issue with
market
female
besides
protagonists right now.
Become the Tomb Raider. Become the Tomb Raider is catchy. You can't really market it as any other way besides, oh, play as the Tomb Raider. Not as catchy. Become the Tomb Raider is a very catchy thing, and it's more of, hey, you get to be the Tomb Raider again when they advertise it again. Because it's not supposed to be like, you're finally the Tomb Raider. It's like, no, you get to be her again if you want.
But this was also the Arkham series problem, because it was be the bat for 3 games and then Arkham Origins came out, which was the Origins, and instead of that, it was your enemy shall define you, and it was so badass. Why can't they do stuff like that?
Because
We need to stop this episode.
People... Yes, we do. Like I said, agree to disagree. Let's leave it at that. What's it down now?
I'm out of breath after that one.
This is what happens when you rant. Anyways, we should probably end the
We're gonna end this right now because honestly we're gonna run out of time and we're gonna get cut off. So I want to thank you all for coming in. Thanks to Maddie and her contractual appearance. Any last words on that one?
No.
No last words. And as always, do the bell thing.